Okay, so today we're going deep on India.
Mm.
More specifically, how its geography shaped its destiny, I guess you could
Yeah,
say.
like the relationship between land and power in ancient India.
Right, exactly.
Ah.
And I got to say, the notes you gave me here, they're fascinating. All these stories about like legendary spice roads, empires that rise and fall, and of course, the mystery of the Indus Valley civilization. It's incredible.
Yeah, and that's what always gets me about India. It's right at the crossroads of Asia, a real meeting point for different landscapes and cultures.
So many different climates and biomes all in one place. It's kind of mind blowing.
Yeah, and to really understand India's story, you got to understand how those forces interact, how geography shapes power, you know.
It's like looking at a giant treasure map.
Huh?
The notes mention all these fertile valleys overflowing with crops and mountains full of valuable
Oh,
resources.
and don't forget those coastal regions, perfect for trade, especially when you think about India's position on the Silk Road.
Right? The Silk Road. I mean, that's what I think of when I hear about ancient India, all that exotic trade.
And the sources really dive into the specifics, cotton dyes and, of course, the spices everyone was after.
It's like India was the ultimate shopping destination back then.
Oh, absolutely. Civilizations were drawn to its riches for centuries.
But all that wealth must have made India a target too, right?
Exactly. Imagine being a ruler with all those resources, but constantly looking over your shoulder for the next invasion.
Because according to these notes, there were a lot of invasions.
A lot, yeah. It makes you think, how did they defend themselves with all that geographic diversity?
So it's like a double-edged sword, right? This incredible tapestry of cultures and resources is both a blessing and a curse.
You hit the nail on the head there, and it's a tension that runs through India's entire history.
I mean, did all these different regions ever band together? I mean, I'm picturing like a united front against invaders.
Well, that's where things get complicated. You see that same geographic diversity that made India so prosperous also made political unity a real challenge.
So instead of one big empire, it was more like a patchwork of different powers.
Yeah, and while some regions might have formed alliances against invaders, a truly unified response was rare.
It's almost ironic the very things that made India so rich also made it vulnerable.
That's a really interesting point.
Do you think a different kind of political structure could have emerged? I mean, one that used that diversity as a strength instead of a weakness.
That's a great question, and it makes you wonder, what if India had been more politically unified? Could they have resisted those invasions more effectively? Would history have unfolded differently?
It's definitely something to think about and makes me want to learn even more about the specifics of ancient Indian empires and how they dealt with these challenges.
Yeah, and how they balanced the advantages and disadvantages of their unique geographic situation.
Exactly. This deep dive has really opened my eyes to the complex relationship between geography and power in India.
It's a story that continues to fascinate and inform our understanding of the world today.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this journey and for all the insights.
My pleasure, always happy to explore these historical puzzles with you.
And for our listeners, be sure to check out the show notes for more information on the empires and invasions we talked about.
And until next time, keep on exploring those historical mysteries.
Absolutely. The past is always full of surprises waiting to be uncovered.
It sure is.
See ya!
Bye.